Yes, sir, you are. Hello? Yeah. You have 40, 30 minutes, I hope.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sir. Hello? Okay. It's on. Yeah. Minasan yokoso. Namaskar. And good evening, everyone. I'm Vanchita Shirke, and it's an absolute honor to welcome you all to Media Manthan, an international conference and workshop on media, democracy, and public sphere, organized by the Mass Communication Department of Somaya University in association with Press Club of India and Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia. At this distinguished platform, where ideas converge and conversations shape perspective, it is my privilege to introduce a truly remarkable individual, Mr. Yogendra Puranik. At this popular place, popularly known as Yogi-san in Japan, Mr. Puranik made history as the first non-Japanese member of Legislative Assembly in Japan. His journey from India to Japan has an unwavering commitment to community service, cross-cultural understanding, and public welfare are truly inspiring. A financial professional turned into a politician, Mr. Puranik has played a pivotal role in strengthening Indo-Japanese relations and advocating for multicultural inclusivity in governance. His leadership in Edgawa city, from home to a significant Indian diaspora, reflects his vision of unity beyond borders. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from a leader who embodies resilience, adaptability, a global perspective on governance and democracy. Presenting an expert to talk on bridging cultures, the impact of international communication on public opinion formation. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Yogendra Puranik. Hello, sir, please. Yeah.
Hello. The students over there to out the differences in the democracies of India and Japan, how politics runs in these two countries, and what role mass media can play from various angles in growing this relationship. To start with, I would like to thank Somaya Vidya Vihar University for inviting me to this program, and hope I will add some value to this event. So, guys, are you ready? I cannot hear
Yes,
your
sir.
voices,
Yes,
so
sir.
I'll take it as that you are ready over there.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
so I'll just put out my presentation. Can you give me the rights?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The rights are given, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
not yet,
No?
not yet.
Just a minute, sir. Sir, 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, sure, sure. So all of you students there, I think our discussion is going to be quite unique, and I request you to be like keenly sitting over there, grabbing whatever important information flows out in this session, and also at the same time, my discussion is going to be a quite generic one, because maybe I thought like. It's better not to go so deep in this first step itself. Rather, I will go a bit on the surface kind of level, cosmetic, and then we can enrich the discussion through the question and answer session. So while you listen to my talk, I request you to pen down your questions, whatever comes to your mind, small question, big question, anything that comes to you, you think about when you are listening to the session. Let us make it interactive.
Yeah, sir, definitely. Sir, the rights have been provided.
Even done?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh, now it's done. Yeah, yeah. So. Where is it? Where is it? This is the one. Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Great. So today we are going to talk about on this topic of bridging cultures, the democracy, the public sphere, and the role of the media. So this is about myself. I came to Japan. I was born near Mumbai, and then I finished my higher education from Pune, then from Calcutta, then from in Japan, then in China, then in France. So I had education in multiple countries. From career perspective, I worked in India for 3.5 years. I worked in IT industry for 3 years or close. Then I worked more in India. I worked for a manufacturing company for 1.5, 2 years. I was also a teacher at the Pune University for around 3 to 4 years. And in 2001, I moved out to Japan as a professional, and since then I'm living here. So during these years, I worked in IT and banking sector predominantly for a longer time. Reached the CEO and director level in their respective fields. As a hobby, I own 2 restaurants in Japan and a World Culture Center. I also work as a social worker, probably one of the most active social workers in the Indian community here. I'm also a public speaker like this. Today, I like to talk to people and give my knowledge, share my knowledge and information. I'm also the president of All Japan Association of Indians, through which I do most of my social work. And as I was introduced, I'm the first India-born Asian origin assemblyman in Japan. But today I work as a first ever Indian origin gazetted civil officer in Japan. I work in the education department as a secretary or principal secretary, and I have multiple positions. I have the educational IT of one of the states, and also I'm the principal of a public school in Japan. So that's about me. Why I'm talking so much about me is because I want to create that relation of trust with all my audience, that yes, you are listening to a right person who knows Japan, who has experienced Japan for a longer time. And some of these things, like my work, has been picked up by international media all across the world. Of course, Japanese media, Indian media, and US, UK, a lot of media across the globe has picked up my news. These are some recent updates from my side. I am now in the textbook of Japan's high school textbook. Last year I got the Jagdish Marathi Vision Award at the hands of Mr. Eknath Shinde. He was the chief minister then. An educational award from the president of Mauritius. And last year, interestingly, I was given the duty of one day special duty deputy police superintendent. It was amazing, interesting
Wow.
to do it.
Wow.
And last year I also published my biography in Japanese. The English translation is done. I hope it will come to India very soon. So the topic is very close to what we are going to talk today. And I have also written about the role of media in this book. It just happened like that. So I'll jump into the topic. Japan is an encrypted country.
Yes, sir.
You understand encrypted? Encrypted means which is like sacred, or something hidden kind of. So very less is known about Japan in the overseas, and particularly in India. The information available on the internet is scarce. Even on SNS, the information is not available. Like so much of information is not available. The language and the literature and the typical ways of expression of Japanese, it's a very different culture. These actually create the barrier, a very high barrier between Japan and all other countries. Japan is special. Similar way, maybe China is also special, but Japan is really special in the terms their communication style is very different. They are like they speak most of the times. They are indirect speakers. They are not so vocal. They won't tell you something directly. Like say, I'll give an example. Like if they are sitting in a hot room and they are feeling hot, they will not say, "Can you please put on the AC?" If it is an Indian will say, "Can you please put on the AC?" or "Can you put on the fan?" They
Yeah.
will say, "Oh, it's hot. Oh, it's hot."
Yeah.
So you have to keep guessing what exactly they are meaning, and that is one of the biggest problems in handling Japan in whatever ways and means, be it political thing, be it a professional thing. Like if I'm working in an IT company in Japan, I have to read between the lines. I have to understand what exactly they are trying to say. So, and that's one of the reasons why Japan is an encrypted country. They are not direct in their expression. They are not direct in their language. Now we'll go to the second point. So I said like the Japan is quite hidden, and because of this indirect nature, the real Japan never comes out. And on the contrary, like while we think and we feel that Japan is a peaceful and a nation of harmony, but there are dark sides of Japan that are often hidden, and these sides are never written about or expressed in any kind of media. That is what Japan has been successful in doing. Like, I'll give an example. What's your idea of Japan? I'm not sure if you can participate in this conversation from there if you have a mic or not. If you have a mic, maybe somebody can take a mic and answer. But what is the general impression that you have about Japan? Is it a developing country or an advanced country, or what is it?
Uh,
So,
it's an advanced country, definitely. The crowd,
right.
yeah.
Right. So it's an advanced country, but trust me, like now I work as a principal of a school, and it's a very elite school, top ranked in top 50 schools of Japan, and almost half of my students, they belong to families that cannot pay the bare minimum nominal fees of the school. So while we say like Japan is an advanced country, almost 50 to 60% of the population lives close by to the poverty line, which means that their income is in Indian rupees around 12 to 15 lakhs a year. Now, living in this country for a family income of 12 to 15 lakhs a year, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and I'm saying like it's like even in Tokyo, where I belong to, my within Tokyo, my city is Edogawa city, and 66% of the population of Edogawa city lives below that line, earning of around 12-13 lakh rupees per year. So this is how actually the things are hidden. It is not shown to the outside world. Japan is famous for wrapping. If you come to Japan and if you buy a gift here, they will wrap the box first they will wrap the item with a plastic or paper, then they will put a box on it, then again they will put a wrapper on it, then they will put a ribbon on it. So now it's all about packaging. Similar with the society is also packaged, and the kind of information they give out is also packaged. So, since you all are mass media guys, what is important here is again to look behind the screens and to read between the lines. You have to understand the reality. You have to find the evidence. That's and it's challenging when it comes to Japan. The press is free here, but the politicians also free. It's a freedom of speech. It's a very strong democratic country, but still they are not noisy or not nasty like the media or like the politicians in India or China. They follow a codon kind of a set of rules. Like on Japanese TV, you won't find somebody like shouting, "Oh, I kind of, why did you do that?" And he did something like that. So there is no shouting business there. People actually always maintain a decorum. That's one important part. And also like many of like the scandals, these are not so much talked about. They will just talk about it. The police will investigate. The result will come out, and that's the end of it. There is no international shouting about what is wrong going in this country. That is something different from our country. Our country is like halla pulla, whatever wrong is happening in the country. And typically the country hides the matters of national shame. I'm not talking about national defense, which must be confidential, but this is about the country hides the matters of national shame. Like say if it is a Korean president, in most of the cases you have seen like Korean president, once the president resigns, some scandal comes out and they are taken into custody. But in Japan it barely happens. In fact, in the political circles it is said that since Mr. Abe, the late Prime Minister, he had a lot of scandals. That's why he got vanished. So, those scandals were not brought out because that would bring shame to the country. So, but there is a possibility, I'm not sure, I don't want to blame him after he has died, but that is what is being talked in the political circles. So, Japan is a constitutional monarchy. Do you understand what is constitutional monarchy? Well, it is explained there. There is an emperor, and there is also a democratic system, a parliament, and houses in all the states. We call prefectures in Japan. So, emperor is quite a symbolic identity or existence in Japan, but still everybody respects the emperor. And when like say the elections are over and the prime minister has to take an oath, he has to first go to the emperor and take a permission or pay respects to the emperor, and then the PM can take the role of the PM. That is the kind of role the emperor plays. Of course, the country keeps aside a big budget for the emperor, so that for their livelihood and so that they can take part in various social activities. Now, the real political actually, the power lies with the elected government. Japanese democracy is overall stable, but there have been like in last last 16, 17 years, the prime ministers have changed in a very short span. Before that, Mr. Modi, Mr. Koizumi, they had a longer span, but since then, after Mr. Koizumi, the prime ministers have changed in a very shorter span, sometimes within a year, kind of. But the democracy as an overall is quite stable. The police and the judicial system is quite strong in Japan. One difference, big difference in Japan is like the police is not controlled by the political personnel or by the ministers or the political leaders. Police is a totally separate wing. Means the politicians do not decide the transfers of the police. It is decided within the police system. the judiciary is also quite independent of the political system. So that's why in Japan, if scandals are happening, the scandals are investigated quite fairly. Is what we look at. Of course, some of the politicians are strong and they can do some adjustments, but in general, the investigation is quite fair, and the judicial system is also quite fair. Now, Japanese democracy is, I call it as a pseudo democracy. It is because the interesting thing is, like in Japan, the city, the head of the city and the head of the prefecture, that which means the head of the city is the mayor and the head of the prefecture is the governor. If you compare it with India, the governor in Japan is equivalent to the chief minister in India. So I will just call for ease of understanding. I will say that the mayor and the chief minister, they are the head of the bureaucracy system. They are directly elected. Like in suppose in Maharashtra, you will have the Vidhan Sabha elections, and the largest party will choose the leader as the chief minister. But that does not happen in Japan. In Japan, the chief minister election is independent, and the elected chief minister, he is the head of the bureaucracy wing, not heading the political side of the wing, but head of the bureaucracy wing. So the responsibility of tabling the budget and defending the budget is on the governor. And basically the governor and the bureaucratic officers, they have to answer to the questions of the MLAs. So all the MLAs and will sit against the bureaucrats facing each other, and they debate. It's not the party in power and the party in opposition and they debate, but it's the bureaucratical wing and the politicians who actually do the debate with each other. But at the national level, it is like the Indian Assembly, where the political sides get divided into the party in power and the party in opposition, and they do the debate. But having said that, what I have seen is the Japanese politicians, the MPs, they are not going so much technically into the details, and most of the times they are under the strong influence of the bureaucracy. That means the bureaucratical officers, they offer them some plans, they will submit the plans in the assembly, but when the question and answer is happening, they are unable to handle the tough questions. So it's like the bureaucracy is spoon feeding the party in power. That is what is quite often seen. So I just spoke about this, the direct election of governors and mayors. The heads of the cities and prefectures are directly elected, and they head the bureaucratic wing, and they submit budgets to the political wing for debate and approval. These are some key parties in Japan. The Liberal Democratic Party, the right wing, is close to Republicans in the US. If we compare it with India, maybe they will be closer to something like Congress. Then there is a Constitutional Democratic Party, the liberal left wing, which is close to the Democrats in the US. If we compare it in India, they will be close to something like the BJP. So this actually opens up an interesting thing. Like, if it is Japan versus US, and if they have in Japan, if they have a LDP government, and in the US if they have the Republic government, then the relation actually goes smooth. But if it becomes reverse, in Japan if they have the Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP government, and in the US if they have the Democratic government, then the relation doesn't go well. Even in that case, the dollar to yen rate actually goes extensively bad. And like it was just happening, like when Biden was the Prime Minister, Japan and US was not having a great relationship. But now, once it is Trump, the LDP and Trump will have basically a better relationship there. And that's why it is interesting to think about why LDP and BJP relation could go well. Why? What is it? Because naturally LDP should connect with Congress, and the Constitutional Democratic Party, the CDP, should connect with BJP when it comes to the thought process. So this is an interesting facet to look into. Am I too fast, or can you understand what I'm talking? Are you with me?
Yes, sir, we're with you. It's very clear.
So it's fine. Okay, great. Now next thing is Japan has a keiretsu concept. Now keiretsu is the management term which means a group, and everything in Japan they work in groups. So like you have a Honda car and you have a Suzuki car. So the Honda car will work with a certain bank, say in Japan the Tokyo Mitsubishi Bank, and the Mitsubishi group will be with the Honda group, and all the companies in that group will work together. Similarly, say if it's a Suzuki car, maybe it will work with say Mizuho Bank, and all the companies within that Mizuho Bank group will all work together. They don't compete with each other, but they help each other, and they are like composite to each other. So similarly, in politics also there is no exception. So politically also the parties they connect to some industry, and also like the parties connect to some television. Rather, some television will connect to that group. Some newspapers will connect to that group. So in Japan we have a left-wing media and we have a right-wing media. So normally they are free, but they have the freedom of speech. But in recent years, during my stay in Japan in these last 25 years, what I saw is what is said rather than what I saw. What is said is that Mr. Abe was a bit strong against the media, and he tried to mold the opposite media to join his side. So somehow people actually feel that, and they are unhappy about that. But still, as a prima facie thing, like Japan has a left-wing media and they have a right-wing media, and they also have like on the bottom side the Sankei newspaper and the television Tokyo. These are neutral media, and the one below the Bunshin Scandal magazine, this is a damaging media kind of. They just focus on scandals, whatever they can find out, and they have been very nasty kind of. Maybe sometimes in good sense because they are bringing out the scandals, but sometimes I feel like they are doing it too much kind of. They can disturb the life of an individual or something like that. So that's one important part. And one more different aspect of Japan is like the LDP, the Liberal Democratic Party, the conservative right wing. They basically connect to the corporates, whereas CDP, the liberal left, they connect to the labor unions. And this is a very interesting thing to see there. So the fundings for the LDP, they come from the corporates. Fundings for the CDP, they come from the labor unions. So even like, and it's funny because ultimately both corporates and labor unions, they actually have to connect to the employees. But then there is a kind of demarcation is there. Even when I ran for my elections, I was with the CDP, the liberal left, and my election was supported by the labor union. So my poster pasting and flyer distribution and all those kind of stuff work was done by the labor union. So these tie-ups, they actually never change. They are quite strong, and they stay as it is kind of. So next thing is, while we are talking all about this, I think like from the Japan and India perspective, there has been a lot of ignorance of media from both sides. Like Japanese media doesn't focus on India at all, and Indian media doesn't focus on Japan at all. Rather than focus, we don't even talk about each other's countries so much. If you open an Indian TV channel, I don't think you will hear so much about Japan or something. Maybe these days kids have an opportunity to watch Japanese animations what all Doraemon and what not. I'm not into it so much. But other than that, we don't have so much of information or news about Japan. And on the contrary, on the Japan side, I also see the same. In fact, rather I feel like most of the times Japanese media is probably printing the negative news or some funny news about India. Like this one article here, they are talking about, like say, the rapes in Nepal and India. I don't know why they should be printing that, because rapes and all those kind of things, they do happen in Japan. I don't hear about it, but they take that thing to write about the rapes in India and Nepal into the Japanese newspaper. So I think that is one sorry part of media that I see. Rather, the Japanese media should be talking about more of the educational and scientific achievements of India. That is one which is a strong forte of India. Same way, the Indian newspaper should talk about more about the Japanese industries, their working styles, their working cultures, their ideologies, the kaizen. These kind of topics, I think, should be written on a much more higher frequency. And in general, I see mascotism in the Indian newspapers or even in Japanese newspapers. Some writer they come across somebody tells them something, and without any verification or without finding the evidence, people write nonsense, and the readers, they believe it. So I think that's an irresponsible media. Media has a huge responsibility, and I believe that. I was a banker, and that's why I believe in evidence collection, doing double checks, and doing the right thing. Because of the sudden expansion in the media and the SNS, I think there is a loss of that evidence check or double checks kind of, and rather an explosion of mascotism in the media and SNS zones. The relation between India and Japan is quite distant. While a lot is being spoken about India-Japan relation, I don't see that the relation is growing from all the perspectives. It could be like political exchange, or it could be the industrial partnerships, or it could be the education. Like students from India come to Japan, or students from Japan go to India. But only one thing is growing between India and Japan, and that is the loan that India is taking from Japan. So the lending transaction from Japan to India has increased multifold, and sometimes I really get worried about it, because it's finally going to be a burden on India. So I sometimes get worried about it. Similarly, like in 2017, India and Japan declared a technical internship program for 350,000 jobs, but that has failed. Hardly 1,000 to 2,000 people have come to Japan under this program. So, there is a total lack of interaction between India and Japan and the relevant parties from India and Japan. And on the contrary, due to the wrong publicity, even the ineligible people, like there was so much of hype of this news, 350,000 jobs in 2017. And because of that, even ineligible people, without any preparedness, everybody's like, I get so many inquiries, like 100, 200 inquiries every year. Like, I want to go to Japan, what can I do? And without having enough subject matter expertise, without having any language expertise, without, people just want to go overseas or go to Japan. And I think this is also happening because of the media. You get a piece of information, you immediately pounce on it, you beautify it, you glorify it, and then you write it. Oh, 3,500 jobs, bloody. And Indian media is like that. They feel like if they write in simple terms, basically nobody is going to buy the news. So I don't think so. I think we have to be, genuine at, as far as possible, and give the right information. And so I feel that there's a larger role of mass media that can come into play between India and Japan or any other India and any other country. The media must highlight model cases like me. I'm sorry to say that, but like me, and I feel like I am also a pioneer in Japan because I have had solo 1 hour interview, 30-minute interviews on Japanese TV, and the kind of frequency I have had interviews on Japanese TV nobody had before. Similarly, my interviews, my articles are published in Japanese media, magazines, newspapers all the time. So I think I am contributing to the positive news about foreigners or positive news about India in Japan. Similarly, there will be many other people who are doing many good things. So we need to find out these model cases and these success stories, and we have to write these down. We have to propagate them so that we influence people and attract more interaction. And most importantly, as I was saying, like media must offer right information so that youngsters make the right career or destination choices. Now, one mother from India, from Mumbai, she used to call me a lot of times, sir, my son is a fan of India. मेरा बेटा है ना सर, वो इंडिया का फैन है सर, उसको इंडिया जाने का है सर. तो सर आप बोलिए ना सर कैसे जाने का है सर. So I said, मैडम आपके बेटे को इंडिया जाना है या आपको इंडिया जाना है? तो बोली नहीं, मेरे बेटे को जाना है. तो बोला आपका बेटा क्यों नहीं फोन करता? So first thing, your beta should call. And then when I speak to the beta, he doesn't have a single answer why he wants to go to Japan or why he loves Japan. Sir, मुझे ना बहुत जापान पसंद है सर. वो क्या पसंद है? So this is again like because of that somewhere he would have come across that hyped information media, and he has no touch with the real information, and only that kind of what you can say, a mirage kind of thing created in his mind that oh, Japan is a wonderful country and okay, I should go to Japan kind of. So that is not going to work. It is rather going to devastate the minds of many youngsters. So it's time that there are opportunities. I don't deny there are opportunities, lots of opportunities overseas. In Japan, Germany, US, there are lots of scholarships, lots of opportunities, and these youngsters, they must grab these opportunities. So we need to work on these 4 aspects. What on the left hand side, providing information, creating awareness, shaping perceptions. What I did first thing with that boy was I shaped his perception. I said, if what you are right now, if you come to Japan with that kind of mindset, it's going to boomerang. You won't be happy. So first you have to prepare yourself. So like in my educational seminars, I give the example of Ramanujan. Do you all know Ramanujan? He was one of the greatest mathematicians in the late 19th century. I think he was born 1982, and he was born 1988, I think, and he died in 1888, and he died in around 1920 at the age of 32 or 33. And he was one of the best mathematicians that the world has seen. He wrote 3,000 new theorems in mathematics, but he died at the age of 33 because he went to UK without being prepared, and he didn't know what kind of clothes to use, to wear in that winter, what kind of food he should eat, and a scholarly person like him finally he died at an early age because he couldn't understand things and he couldn't maintain his lifestyle and his health. So how to avoid what you can say, sacrificing such Ramanujans from our country? We are full of intelligent people, so I think mass media should play a larger role there, providing information and creating awareness, and I think that is how you can help the youngsters make the right career or destination choices. So I think I'll stop here. I think the world is going flat. People are going to go to places anywhere on this earth, maybe outside the earth in recent future, and how to connect these geographies is something that the mass media should actually, what you can say, influence in terms of giving the right information and creating awareness is what I believe. Otherwise, you know, like wrong people will be in the wrong places and that won't work for anybody. Similarly, for the India and Japan relationship, I think we are just hyping it. Most of us do not understand what exactly is going on in the political scenarios there, what exactly is Japan meaning, what their actions and their choices mean, and our media needs to actually do some deep thinking about it. So that responsibility also lies on the next generation. So I think you should be a much more conscious and aware generation doing the right mass communication. So with that, I'll stop here and I'll take your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your truly inspiring and informational insights. The platform is now open for questions.
I think we can just mail sir the questions.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir, for sharing your invaluable insights on profound impact international communication in shaping public opinion. Your experiences have not only highlighted the power of cross-cultural dialogue, but also underscored the importance of empathy and understanding and open communication in building a stronger global connection. We deeply appreciate the time and wisdom you've shared with us today, and I'm certain your words have inspired us to approach communication with a greater awareness and purpose. Once again, thank you very much for being with us and enriching our conference with your knowledge and experience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.